Hey there, fellow sea glass lovers. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Jackie, and my inspiration for today's art project is this beautiful photo that I have of the beach in PEI. I just love all the movement of the waves and the movement of the seaweed and the sand and the clouds, and I'm going to try and recreate some of that movement and some of this color in a paint pour project today. I hope you join me for this one. I think it'll be lots of fun. So for this project, I have a 14 by 14 inch canvas, and I have about 10 ounces of paint. And I used an online calculator that Olga Solby put out. I will put a link to that in the description down below in case you want to check it out. She has an amazing channel as well. And I'm going to try a open cup ring pour. So I have a variety of rings here that I want to try. Just going to randomly put them around on my canvas. Whoops, get some paint. And I'm going to fill these full of paint and then see what happens. It's all very experimental. So I have one large ring, one medium colored ring, and 3 small rings. And I'm going to put the paint in these rings in the same order. I'm going to put the dark blue on the bottom. And I've added a little bit of silicone to all of these colors, except the white. I want to top it off with white. All right. Now, my next color I'm going to do is a lighter green. These paints that I'm using today are all paints where I've mixed some different colors together just to see what I get. Sometimes I use the paint directly from the tube, and sometimes I like to mix it up a bit. Next, I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm going to alternate my gold. So I'm just going to put a dab of gold in. Some on the canvas. That won't hurt. The canvas is all going to be covered with paint in the end. Just hoping to have a little bit of strip of gold through. So I'm going to put gold in twice. Now my lighter blue. This is a mixture of a bunch of different blues. Just love this shade. Could never duplicate it either. One of the disadvantages of mixing paint, because you can't get the same color twice. Ooh, I've got paint coming out from underneath the cups, and it's so interesting. This cup is starting to move on me. My table is pretty level, but why this one, a couple of them aren't moving and one is, I'm not sure. Now I'm going with a darker green. I just like watching what happens as you're doing these paint pours. And I'm going to use the rest of my gold, and then it'll be topped up with white. And now the white. Oh man. Paint that's leaking out underneath the bottom of these cups is so interesting. Getting all these beautiful colors happening. All right, so if I don't have enough paint, I can always play around with it later. Might tilt this a bit. Before I lift the cups up. Now I think what I'm going to do is move these towards, as I'm lifting them, I'm going to move them towards the area of the cup, or the area of the painting that doesn't have enough paint, like over here. And over here. And I'll go this way with this one. And this way with this one. And this way with my biggest one. Try and get some of this paint spread out. Now it may be a matter of letting the paint flow and filling in the empty sections. This is the patient part of acrylic paint pour. If your paint is too thin, it'll run fast. If it's too thick, it won't run at all. So you just have to let it run, get it so that it will run, but you don't want it to run too fast or too slow. You just want it to happen. And then you get all this really organic movement in the canvas, which is so interesting. So in this corner where I don't have enough paint, rather than stretch too much out of my design, I'm going to scoop up some of the extra paint that's stripped off and just let it flow into that. So I don't want to lose too much of my design here. Plus that paint that drips off is so pretty. The way all the paints have run together and created this really beautiful mix of color. Man, this is pretty interesting. I have another section here that needs some extra paint. All right, I think I'll let that just flow for a bit, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I got. So I think using the 5 open cups on this project has really worked, because I've got these 5 distinct white areas in the painting. And it is so interesting how the paints have all flowed together here. I find with paint pouring, you have to leave it to sit for a couple of days and see how the paint settles and see what it looks like when it dries. So I'll come back and show you the result after it's dried. So far, I am extremely pleased with what I'm getting in this painting. Hope you like this one. So after this painting dried, I put on 2 coats of Minwax polyacrylic protective finish just to give it a nice finish, and I don't have to worry about the paint rubbing off. And when I look at the details in this painting, I'm just amazed by how the colors have really run together and come out, and there's so many details. This is one of those paintings that I think I could look at for a long time and still pick out some different details. So to embellish it with sea glass, what I'm picturing when I look at this is I feel like I'm up in an airplane looking down. So I decided I didn't want to put too much detail in it, but just the fact that you can look at something like this and pick out all sorts of different details, I decided that because it was like an aerial view, I was going to put a family of whales down here swimming through this channel, because this kind of looks to me like land masses, like the whites are land masses, and then there's all these layers of texture as you get into the water, and there's different depths of water. So in the deepest part of the dark blue water here, there's a family of 3 whales, and that's all I'm going to do to add to this painting, just to give it that tiny bit of detail. So I hope you found this painting interesting and it's really helpful for you in your attempts to bring the beach back into your home. And until next time, I hope you make it out to the beach, and happy sea glass hunting.